As for the NPP people, I'm happy they are now going back to regroup. I'm happy they are going back to relearn. For us, we are happy. We are happy because in the past, NPP has given us some of the best opposition moments. I believe they are good at opposition. They are better at opposition than they are at the helm of affairs, at the presidency. So, yeah. The swearing-in ceremony was a happy occasion. At least we could breathe. It had been filled with tension. The period between 7th December and then 7th January is one period that we should have a look at again, because the stress, the anxiety, and the fear-mongering, the scare-mongering was just too much. We believe as a nation we should have a look at it again. But with regards to the organization of the ceremony itself, it was beautiful. I overheard a very old woman in Osu saying that this was reminiscent of how the independence in 1957 was. And I was just surprised. You see, we were under the British colony for a long time, I think from 1821 until 1957. And if Gold Coast attained independence and the atmosphere was as it was just last 7th January, then I would say that, yes, Akufo-Addo, you do some. If 136 years and we were independent and the whole nation was as jubilant as it was, and then with just its 8 years, it looks like another independence, then you do some adventure. Talking about the tension again, I think Ghana should have a look at it again. And I am speaking most humbly to our president now, to see if there's anything that can be done, especially with respect to the Constitution. During Atta Mills' time, we all wanted the Constitution to be reviewed. Even President Akufo-Addo also wanted the same thing. I quite remember on the 28th of February 2022, during the 30th anniversary of the 1992 Constitution, he said in the speech that he wished we could amend the Constitution so that the fear that people had, especially with respect to coup d'etat, could be erased. He talked about contemporary issues and then the future issues. And we were all hopeful that he would visit that before his tenure came to an end. But of course, as it is with most of his things, he couldn't walk the talk. I am pleading with the president, and I'm pleading with all Ghanaians to take a good look at the Constitution again. It needs a review. It needs an amendment. Why am I saying this? The issue of coup d'etats or military regime, military takeovers, should be a thing of the past. It should be so far beyond us, so far jettisoned into the bin of the past, that we can't reach for it. To even be scared that a group of military men could take arms and then make sure that the coronation doesn't come on, excuse me, is in itself unheard of. In countries like America and Canada and other developed nations, you wouldn't think about this. They can have the worst of presidents, but definitely they will be patient enough to make his time expire, and then through the same democratic means choose a new leader. It cannot be accepted, for instance, in America that the Marines, who have superior power and superior, might and all that, will gang up and then turn on the state of America and overthrow the president. It could never happen. So I want this to be in the dialogue of many people. National discussion should start on this. We have had the first independence constitution. We have had the second, the third, the fourth. We should not have the fifth one or the sixth one. This should be the only constitution that we can refer to. Of course, it can be amended. It can be reviewed. Some subtractions can be made. Some additions can be made. But the fourth Republican Constitution of 1992 should not, and we should make it impossible for any group of people, be they from the armed forces, or from the police, or from the Navy, or from the prison service, or even from the Boy Scout. Nobody should be able to take up arms and say that they are overthrowing a democratically elected president. It was tough. Some of the important media personalities really scared us. A lot were the rumor that flew around saying that the president was not ready to yield power, and he was not ready to make President Mahama the next president. And so a lot were being said about people being sponsored to overthrow the government. A lot were being said about assassination and all that. Any morning you woke up within those periods, 7th December to January 7th, it was with a certain anxiety and stress. We believe by looking at the Constitution again, we will make sure that that does not happen. And not just that, we should also make sure that violence during and after our elections is also reduced to zero. I am pleading with the President, John Dramani Mahama, the President, former President, now the former President who has become the current President, the history maker, to please, as a matter of urgency, form a committee that will look into this issue, a committee that will visit and investigate all the violence and death in the election, and even in the previous election, that we had 8 people die, and then in this one, a few less also die. Is not acceptable. Our democracy is growing, and we must make sure we protect it in a way that it grows with all the grace and all the simplicity that other developed nations have grown. Coming back to the issue of military regimes, a few suggestions I believe can help. One of the suggestions is to make sure that we do the constitutional review and amend it in such a manner that it will become criminal for people to even have succeeded in overthrowing a president. As it is now, it is only when you are found attempting to stage a coup that the highest law against it, which is high treason, is applied to you. people can be hanged to death for that. But if you are able to be brave enough and you actually succeed, then what happens is the Constitution becomes overthrown. It should not be the case. Even when they succeed, they should still be referred to as criminals. And then subsequent democratic governments can punish them accordingly. In other words, even when they have been in power and given power to a subsequent democratically elected government, that government must be able to prosecute them and, of course, have them face the laws of the land for what they did. And not just that, we must make sure that we have bipartite and tripartite agreement with our foreign and international, organizations and countries. A person who has been able to come through the coup d'etat should not be accorded any dignity whatsoever. I know that internationally there will be sanctions, there will be condemnations, there will be isolations. We will lose a lot through our access to markets and all that. But they should do some more. We should have agreements with stronger nations with military powers to forcefully enter and remove those coup plotters. Don't get me wrong. I am not instigating anything against the army. We respect them. We love them. We are grateful to them because even at the peril of their lives, they have saved this country and they continue to do that. Majority of them are professionals who are happy to be given a job, who are happy to have gone through training, who are happy to retire at the ranks at the end of their term and be honorably discharged. If you ask me, it may only be 1% who think that they are adventurous enough and they can overthrow a civilian government elected by the people. I have this to tell those people, especially whether they are army people or police people or navy people or prisons people or even a group of farmers who take up arms with a decision to oust or overcome a president and his group or the Constitution. They should not do it through the use of a gun or weaponry or ammunitions. If a soldier man thinks he has what it takes to become president, he must resign, he must join a party or form a party, tell people what he thinks he can do, and then be voted for. Other than that, it should not be accepted that the Constitution can be overthrown. We should have it written in our Constitution in such a bold manner, and we should have it conscientized into the minds of many that it is simply not acceptable or imaginable for the army or anybody else to attempt to overthrow a democratically elected government. Apart from that, the tension in the system was also as a result of a lot of Ghanaians losing their sense of humor. I believe we are a country with a high level of emotional intelligence, but of late it's coming down small. The tension was such that people get bored easily. I mean, when I say bored, you understand it. They get annoyed, they get vexed very easily. That I said, Puna, it's a yam. That shouldn't make people vexed to the extent of, threatening my life and all that. We should take a chill pill, We should take a chill pill. The country needs it. The Honorable Deputy Minister The Honorable Deputy Minority Leader said after the President's State of the Nation's address that he was this, he was that. I mean, the President should have looked at it and, laughed over it. But we are quick in losing our tempers over very, very small things. It wasn't just the President that was annoyed. The good old mother, Rebecca, who until then had been a pillar of calmness, wasn't her usual self. And it pained me a lot that she had, at the very last minute, exhibited that kind of trait. We should begin to laugh at ourselves and not take politics too seriously. Talking about seriously, during the coronation, I realized that President, now former President, Akufo-Addo wasn't comfortable. It wasn't that he wasn't comfortable because he didn't want to release the power. Apostle Nelson Ojem, definitely Ojem, but he was very uncomfortable with his chair. I realized that he missed that chair. I would want to ask President Akufo-Addo if he bought that chair with his money. If he didn't, then we will come for it. It will give Ghana a lot of money. We will put it in the museum. If we are talking about chairs, I think it comes second to Otumfuo's Sikadwa Kofi in fame. You see, a chair that can be flown all over, a chair that will be given a V8 to sit in and armed men with AK-47s to guard. That chair is a famous chair, so if we put it in the museum, Ghana will have a lot of money. He wasn't sitting in that chair at the swearing-in ceremony, and so I could see that he was really, really uncomfortable. He missed the chair. Overall, I think Ghana is happy. Ghana is exonerated. At long last, we can breathe. We have been through a lot. I'll tell you a short story. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far, far away, the people realized that they needed to put some food aside during the lean and dry seasons, so that there are people who were being killed through hunger and starvation will be saved. They appointed Kweku Anansi. And as you know, Kweku Anansi, the trickster, he also nominated the boa constrictor, Achrebin, and he also had in his leadership the wolf, Sakramine, and then he had the Nyanting, the he-goat. Now this combination of characters would sink any and every ship. And they went ahead and instead of choosing to be diplomatic, choosing to be humble, instead of choosing to be matured about certain things, they rather visited it with head-on collision, with confrontation, and with an open display of arrogance, whilst at the same time secretly and cunningly amassing as much wealth as they could. It was just a matter of time before that animal kingdom came crumbling down. Moral of the story, my NDC ministers and government appointees, please, let's learn from this. I believe the downfall of Kweku Anansi the trickster and his bunch of characters is akin to what happened in the NPP. We must learn from it. We must be humble. We must be selfless. We must make sure we put the nation first. Other than that, at the end of the 4 years, it might be a different story. As for the NPP people, I'm happy they are now going back to regroup. I'm happy they are going back to relearn. I'm happy that they have seen that the ideologies that they have followed all this while has not helped this country. Their ideology of extreme capitalism, where a few elite will amass as much wealth as they can massively, whilst the masses are left suffering, is not what Ghana wants. For us, we are happy. We are happy because in the past, NPP has given us some of the best opposition moments. I believe they are good at opposition. They are better at opposition than they are at the helm of affairs, at the presidency. So we want them to be in opposition for at least some 16, 20 years. Let them help Mother Ghana. I know that now their numbers are not that many, and so they may want to just stay at home and not bother at all. No, we need them to give us that constructive criticism and all that the opposition can do, and then learn from it. We are praying that the president will do the best he can. I keep saying that by the time his term is up, he will be comparable to the great Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. We are praying for the best. We pray that he has health every morning and he has energy to face all that he must face. It is not easy. Sometimes I wonder why he came back to put all this pressure upon himself again. But they say what is written is written. And if this is what the good Lord wants for Mother Ghana, then so be it. We will do our best to support him in whichever way we can. But I will have this humble advice. He has been there. 2016, we saw the number of people that abandoned him after the loss. People felt he was to blame. Now he's back. These same people will come back and act as if NDC belongs to them. They will act as if without them, the nation cannot run. Mr. President, with the greatest of humility, please use experience in choosing your ministers and appointees. We love the loyal ones, the hardworking ones, the selfless ones, those who would help in making us all proud at the end of the 4 years. We want Ghanaians to even wish we could continue making you president even after your 4 years is over. And we want NDC to be in power for a very, very, very long time. Thank you very, very much once again for the opportunity. I am Obodade, a traditional leader. Asuom is where I come from. The full name is Nana Boadi Amponim Obodade III. Thank you very much. Yes, and during the swearing-in ceremony, I also observed that the president was being overly friendly with His Excellency, President Akufo-Addo. Some of us were not comfortable with it because we know that if it was the other way around, President Mahama would not even have been mentioned at all. I mean, he wouldn't have been made to look as if he existed at all. And so we were not comfortable with that. And we were not comfortable more with the fact that with him being friendly towards the president and with us wanting oral to go hard after the former president, to look as if President Mahama has a soft spot for his old frenemy. I believe this is not in any way going to stand in the way of oral. We have gotten to a stage where the success of President John Dramani Mahama will be judged on the success of oral. A lot of Ghanaians are waiting for that accountability to take place. People want our monies to be retrieved for us. People want the loot to be recovered. So, Mr. President, don't go too soft on him. We beg you. And also, there should be infrastructure. There should be jobs created for the youth. I'm sure these three are what Ghanaians will stand on in 2028 to determine whether your reign has been successful or not. So with a matter, we should deal with it within the shortest possible time and make sure that people are being rounded up, people are being investigated, and our monies are being recovered for us. We thank Ghanaians very much. We hope that this nation will be the better off with President Mahama. We are very, very hopeful. Tomorrow is pregnant. Thank you.